visualization is powerful, so much that it has the potential to completely change your life overnight, right? So in this video, I will discuss how you can start visualizing in the right way so that you can manifest your desires, any desire you have. And don't tell me you're not a visual person, right? Because that's not true. And each one of us, we are imagining 24 hours a day. We can never not imagine, right? So don't tell me that I am not a visual person, I am not an audible person. Like, this applies to all senses, right? So that's just a limiting belief that you need to work on. Every single one of us are imagining 24 hours a day, and all we do is make it conscious, and we make it aware, and we deliberately use it to consciously create our future. That's it, right? So here's you, and you are visualizing a particular scene, which implies that you already have your desire out of infinite possibilities that already exist in the quantum field, right? So you can call this quantum field, or some call it the alternative space. In terms of transurfing, we call it the alternative space, some call it the quantum field, some call it God, some call it the universe, some call it infinite intelligence. There are many names for this field, right? So I will tell you exactly how you can visualize the right way, because most people don't do it the right way. Like, they are still riddled with doubt, anxiety, fear, stress, and they try to visualize, they force to visualize, and they complain that their reality is not changing. It won't change if you don't do it the right way, right? So let's just get right into it. So before I get into the actual process, the actual method, I want to give you a few disclaimers. First is, you need to be consistent, right? So every morning, I want you to engage in this process, in this method, because if you don't program yourself for the day, the world will program you, right? So we want to consciously take control of our days, of our life. So every morning, this needs to be non-negotiable. If you're doing another practice, I want you to try this practice for at least 30 days, right? Or if the practice that you're already doing, and if you're doing it consistently and you're seeing results, then don't do it. But if you are someone who is struggling with manifestation, then I want you to commit to this practice for 30 days and let me know on 31st day how your life changed, right? So every day, every morning, I want you to do this method, and you need to be consistent about it. And the second point is, you need to realize that your imagination is as real as it can get, right? So let me visualize it for you. So here's you, right? And you visualize. So this is the quantum field, alternative space, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. And you visualize a certain scene, a certain point that implies that you already have your desire, right? Because manifestation is just internal fulfillment of a desire, where you yourself goes from wanting to having, right? That is what manifestation is. So when you internally fulfill your desire and you shift from wanting to having, and you select a scene that implies that you already have a particular desire, you are not creating anything new, right? People say, even I say, that you can create your reality, but in fact you never create your reality, right? And whenever you imagine, you are illuminating a particular scene, a particular place in the quantum field. And the more you do this, and the more you become aware of this one possibility, that you already have your desire, that possibility, that potential becomes materialized into physical reality, right? The more you become aware and the more you experience this possibility in your imagination, it hardens into fact in physical reality, right? That is what this process is all about. So whenever you imagine, whenever you go into your visualization, I don't want you to think that it is just visualization and it is fake. Like, we have this belief, right? We have this belief that imagination is not real, but it is as real as it can get, right? Because I have told you in many other videos, our physical reality is nothing but an illusion. It is not real, right? And the cause of a physical reality is the mental plane, it is the quantum field. So whenever you go into your imagination, that is your true reality. And like I said at the start of this video, you are imagining 24 hours a day, right? And you're doing it unconsciously. What you're doing in this video is we're making that unconscious process into a conscious process. That's it, right? So don't take imagination and visualization as if it's not real and it is just something that you do in order to manifest your desires. That is the wrong approach. You can't do that, right? Whenever you go into imagination, you are going into it, you're doing it to experience your true reality where you already have your desire, right? And whenever you come out of imagination, you be aware that you already have your desire, and whatever this physical reality, this 3D reality throws at you that contradicts to what you imagined, you don't react, because you know this is just a reflection, this is not your true reality, right? It is just an effect of all your previous emotions, all your previous thoughts, your previous frequency. So it is not real, right? So you have changed your frequency within through awareness and imagination, and that frequency will get reflected into physical reality. So you, there's no point in you um, reacting to the physical reality. There's no point. If you do react, then that means you still believe that the physical reality is real, and that changes your frequency. And that is why I also made videos on how you should not react and how you can maintain your frequency by not reacting. Check out my other videos for that, right? So you need to realize that your imagination is real. So let me give you a thought experiment. So close your eyes and imagine something that happened in your life. Now imagine something that didn't happen in your life. Was there any difference? There's no difference, right? Only your egoistic mind tells you that there's a difference, but in fact there's no difference. When you imagine that, when you imagine something that happened in physical reality and when you imagine something that didn't happen in physical reality, it all happens in your imagination. There's no difference. You think there's a difference, but there's no difference, right? So the only true reality that you experience is the imagination that you dwell in, right? And physical reality is nothing but an illusion. I want you to get it through your head, right? So those are disclaimers, and I want you to follow both of these before I dive into the actual process. If you don't if you don't do these both, then there's no point in continuing this video, and there's no point in engaging in the process that I'm just about to share. And now I will explain the visualization method that I promised you at the start of this video. So there are 3 steps to this method, and the first method is, the first step is step 0, and next is the actual method, and the last is the post method phase. This might look complicated, but it's not. It's actually damn, it's so simple and it's so easy to do. So the first step is, before you start any visualization practice, your brain waves must shift from beta to alpha or theta, right? So you need to slow down your brainwave states, right? And you do that through relaxation. And how do you relax? So you sit down, right? You sit down and you lie down in a comfortable position. So you can either sit or you can lie down on your bed or your on a cushion or whatever you feel comfortable in. And once you lie down, what I want you to do is just close your eyes and just relax yourself. Whatever thoughts come up, you just let go of it and just feel yourself to be relaxed. And then you can use deep breaths, right? You can use deep breaths, you can do whatever you want to do, but you need to be as relaxed as possible. So what I do is I sit down in a comfortable position and then I close my eyes and I just let thoughts come freely. And whenever I feel like I'm engaged in a particular thought, I let go of it. I consciously release that thought and I just focus on my breath, right? And I take deep breaths in between, and just by doing that, I become relaxed, right? And I enter the void state. The void state is where you become unaware about yourself. You become unaware of this world, and you are just pure consciousness. You are just pure awareness. You will know that state once you start meditating, right? It may take 5 minutes, it may take 20 minutes, but after a particular amount of time, depending on you, you will start feeling relaxed and you will start feeling that you're not a part of this world, and you will just feel like purely relaxed and purely blissful, right? So once you become deeply relaxed, and that is when your brain waves start to go into alpha, right? And alpha state represents a meditative state, and that is what we want to be in. To put it more simply, I want you to get into a drowsy state, the state that we go in before we fall asleep, right? That is what the state I want you to be in. And this is the prerequisite to any practice that you do in manifestation, because when you just do affirmations, or when you force yourself to visualize, your brain waves are still active, like your conscious mind is still active. Our conscious mind will come in between our practice. It will sound out, right? It will make you think that it is not real, and it's very hard for you to impress the subconscious mind, right? For you to impress your subconscious mind, your conscious mind needs to be inactive. It needs to lower down the defenses, and you can't do that if you can't get into a drowsy state. So this is a prerequisite before the actual visualization process. And once you're relaxed, then comes the actual method, which is you visualize a scene that implies that you already have your desire. Right? You visualize a scene that implies that you already have your desire. And I don't want you to extend this scene beyond 10 seconds. 5 seconds is a sweet spot, right? So you create a scene before you do manifestation practice. You think of, so before you do this practice, I want you to decide on what scene you will meditate upon, right? And this scene must imply that you already have your desire. This can be any scene, right? This can be a loved one congratulating you on your success. This can be someone getting shocked at your transformation. This can be anything, right? But that scene should imply that you already have your desire, right? So think to yourself, what would happen if I actually manifested the desire that I want? How would my external reality change? How would other people react? Or ask yourself, what would I do if I manifested my desire right now at this moment? And the answer that comes to you should be the scene in the visualization practice, right? And once you visualize a scene, and I want you to loop it, right? Loop it again and again until that particular scene feels normalized. So once you start, you might feel excitement, you might feel um, euphoric, you might feel very, very enthusiastic about your desire coming into fruition and materializing into physical reality. But the more you loop it, the more it becomes normal, right? We want to attain a state where you feel normal about having the desire. Because if you are so ecstatic, if you're so excited, then that means you didn't believe that you can have that desire. So at first you might feel ecstatic, you might feel blissful, you might feel enthusiastic, but the more you loop it, the more normal your desire feels, right? And that is a particular state you want to be in. So until you feel it normal, or until you feel exhausted, or until you don't feel anything on the inside, I want you to loop that scene again and again and again. And after you become exhausted or becomes normal, or you don't feel anything, you end that meditation, right? And that is the actual method. And after you've done your method, the next step is awareness. So throughout the days, so once you've completed this practice in your mornings, uh, I want you to be aware throughout the day, right? So whenever you think of your desire, you think of it as it's already done. You give thanks to the universe. So for me personally, whenever I want to manifest something, I do this, and after that, whenever I think of my desire, I thank the universe. I say thank you. I just say thank you, God, thank you, universe. I'm so glad I already have it, right? If you can't do it, like, this sounds so simple, right? All it takes is a simple thank you that you repeat throughout the day, and that maintains the frequency that you created through your imagination, right? But if this sounds too simple for you, so you can reaffirm. Whenever you think of your desire, you can reaffirm, you can say it's done, I'm grateful. Like, you can take one affirmation and you can reaffirm it, stating that it's already done. Or you can engage in a 1 minute visualization, right? So whenever you think of a desire, if you can't reaffirm, if you can't just say thank you and maintain the state you are in, what you can do is you can close your eyes, If you're not in a position to close your eyes, for example, if you're driving, don't do this. You can still visualize with your eyes open. You can still do that, right? So I want you to engage in a short 1 minute visualization where you enter a scene that implies you already have your desire. So you can take the same scene you did in the actual method and you can just do it for 1 minute. And that will again put you back in the state you were in when you did this actual method, right? So you become aware of your thoughts throughout the day. You don't become unaware, right? Because if you're not aware and some negative thoughts, some negative emotions pop up, if you're not aware, then you will dwell into it, right? It will turn into a negative spiral and your frequency will start changing. Your frequency, your new frequency will get affected. We don't want that to happen. So be aware throughout the day, and whenever you think of a desire, I don't want you to think, oh my god, it hasn't happened yet. No. Either reaffirm that it's done, it's already done, and you thank the universe, or you engage in 1 minute visualization that implies that you already have your desire. And that's all that you need to do. And that's how you visualize the right way. So I want you to do this for 30 days. And after 30 days, comment down below how your life changed. Even now, you can comment something because I would love to see your comments. But I want you to again come back to this video after 30 days once you do this consistently. And within this 30 days, I don't want you to see any other video or read any other book, because if you have the tendency to get overwhelmed, and if you don't believe in yourself, and if you can't become consistent in just one practice, then there's no point in watching this video for all this amount of time. You just wasted how much ever minutes that I'm recording, you just wasted that time, and you could have focused on something else. If you're still watching this video, then I'm sure that you will commit to this process and you will do it for 30 days, right? Or if you don't want to do this process alone and you want someone else, an expert, who can guide you through this process and also remove the subconscious blocks you may have along the way and manifest your desires 100 times more faster, then check out the link in the description and book a call with me, right? You can talk about your problems and I will give you a customized solution. And even if you don't buy my program, you can still walk away with free value, right? So you lose nothing. So that's it from me. If you want to work with me, again, check out the description. And that's it. I will see you in another video.